I've known Jesse for just a couple of years. He's one of the younger members on our fire department. Very active individual, very energetic individual, and he's the kind of guy that people want to work with.
I've been a fireman for just over 2 years, so not very long compared to a lot of guys. I taught for 7 years for the Wichita School District at Wilbur Middle School on the west side, and I was doing that and I loved it for a while, but just kind of got to the point where I didn't know if it's what I wanted to do until I retired, so I was looking for something else, and I had a few friends who were firemen. They loved going to work every day, and they, could see directly how they were helping people in different situations, and that's what I really wanted to do.
This particular fire was kind of unique. Not all fires are created equally. When you get the report of an apartment fire with persons trapped, that kind of ups the ante.
So that kind of gets our hearts pumping a little faster. As we pulled out of the station, we were less than a mile from the station and could see fire coming up over the trees, so I knew we had heavy fire involvement in whatever was on fire. As soon as we got out of the squad, we could hear several people screaming, and knowing the time of day that it was, figuring most people were still in bed, my worst fears were that we were listening to people burning alive.
The alarm sounded, and me and Nelson are usually on the squad, so no matter what the call is, medical call or fire, we're always going to go, no matter what, in the middle of the night.
I made a quick assessment of the building and told Jesse to try and see if we had any viable options for rescues. There was a heavy fire involvement on the first and the second floor, as well as a kind of an awning over a breezeway that covered a stairwell. And he went off following my orders and was gone for what seemed like several minutes.
I jogged through where some of the flames were up above on this, like the stairway going to the second floor. So I jogged through there and there were some people who lived in the apartment buildings over there that were kind of waving at me. So I went over, talked to them, and they informed me that there was a woman that was still in her apartment, which was on the far edge of the apartment, right underneath where the main fire was. I jogged back over there, forced the door open and walked in. There was a slight haze in the apartment, I guess a decent amount of smoke in the apartment. So I was yelling, nobody was saying anything or coming, but I mean, I had been told that there was a woman in that apartment, so I kept on walking in. I went to the back bedroom, and there was an elderly woman in her bedroom still, and she was like really sweaty and just looked very kind of confused and scared. So I kind of got her up and walked her out the front door, covered her head a little bit as we went out. She tried to turn left into all the flames because that was the way that she normally leaves her apartment. So I had to, kind of guide her away over to where the police officer and the people that lived in the apartment were in.
We started to get the line in place, and we're just getting ready to flow water, and I hadn't seen him yet, so I got a little bit concerned, and then he comes walking back through the breezeway and takes his place on the hose line and kind of leaned down and said, "Where you been?" "I just saved someone." He took great self-initiative and was able to determine from some of the screams of the bystanders that there was still a victim in a particular apartment, and was able to go in there and get her out safely. Then about 2 minutes after that, the roof over the breezeway did collapse, which I feel would have effectively trapped her in her apartment.
That young man made an incredibly brave decision under a tremendous amount of risk to risk his own well-being and the well-being of their crew, trade that off for the well-being of the occupant, the citizen of Wichita who's alive with us today.
A hero, in my opinion, is somebody who puts their lives above someone else, who's willing to die for even a stranger. I think many people lay down their life for a family or a really close friend, but to die for somebody you've never met, in my book, makes you a hero. He's my battle buddy. I'd take him with me again.